Okay, so good evening, everybody. I am here live this evening with Aaron Binik-Thomas of Profit Real Estate. Aaron is a full-time real estate investor as well as a real estate agent. Aaron works in the office of Vina Jones-Cox, who is arguably the most tenured and successful investor in Cincinnati, as well as a nationally recognized real estate trainer. So Aaron is absolutely in business with some of the best in the business. And Aaron is an acquisitions coordinator in Vina's business. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what that means for the average buyer and seller, Aaron, who doesn't really know too much about investing. Tell us what that role looks like.
Sure. Thanks, Roland. Again, my name is Aaron. Profit Real Estate, as Roland said, I work with Vina Jones-Cox. She is just brilliant when it comes to real estate, and I get to use all of those tools that she teaches me to help out the average home buyer as well. So my day job, as we'll call it, is working in the acquisitions here at our office in Price Hill. We're a locally owned, locally operated company. And part of what I do is I find properties for people. During the day with Vina, I find properties for investors, both on market, things that you can see listed on the MLS, which is most common for everybody. If you go and open any local brokerage's website, you can search available properties, and also off the market, which is a lot of fun. We target people who have different properties that they're interested in selling and don't have a way to sell it. And we actually get those properties usually below market and then send them to our investors at a significantly discounted price. Part of what we do is, best way to describe it is we go into probably 300 or 400 homes a year, and we analyze them, we assess them, we see what kind of condition they're in, we see what type of repairs they need to bring them up to what we call the ARV, or it's after repaired value. We see how much it's going to cost to get it to that range. So part of my job here in acquisitions is to find the properties, assess the properties, and then bring those towards our investors.
Nice. So in general, are these kind of properties that you would describe as being distressed? What are the what's the situation in most of these properties?
Sure. The clear majority of them are going to be distressed either financially, meaning they're upside down on a mortgage and they need to find a way to get out, or more often than not, distressed physically, where they're in just a great deal of repair needed. Sometimes it's something small like cosmetics. The last time the kitchen was updated was 1970 and you've got pink tile, or sometimes you'll find the same thing in the bathrooms. Sometimes it's a little bit more than cosmetics. It needs a new air conditioner. It needs a new a furnace. We call that the mechanical end. Or goes a little bit further to it had a roof leak for the past 10 years that nobody decided to fix. And once water gets into your house, that's the end. You really got to tackle it. You got to stop the leak. You got to fix all the repairs. We have actually a joke around the office that the worst thing to happen to your house when it catches fire is that the fire department comes over and puts it out with water. Water is just awful. When water gets into a property, it creeps in there. It slowly destroys it on multiple levels. When your kid punches a hole in the wall, it's got a hole in the wall. You just patch it with some new drywall or replace the drywall sheet. When water gets in there, it gets soaked up. It expands. It changes the paint. It changes the humidity inside your house. And then you start with issues like mold. It just gets really, really big on what needs to be done. So a lot of the properties we see, they're very distressed physically and need a lot of work. But every property's got a buyer, both on the investment side and on the homeowner side. I've worked with clients who have gone some of the more special mortgage routes where there are rehab loans, people who are looking to get into a longer-term repair. I've worked with people who've gotten into properties that just need some basic cosmetics, but one of the skill sets I use is I draw my experience as an investor and I put it into the homeowner market as well. So I walk into a property with you, and I try and find everything wrong with it that I can. some people call me the deal killing agent as a result. But you know, that's kind of what I do. I believe in no nonsense. You know, yes, at the end of the day, I make my money off of commission from the sale of the property, but I'm more interested in making sure that you get the right property at the right price, and that we find as many issues on the front end that we know about. You know, owning a property is always going to have problems. The roof's going to leak, the toilet's going to break. Sink's going to overflow, something's going to happen with the front steps,
Sure.
Your fence is going to fall down. 1,000 things can happen, and you know, you need to be prepared for that. But if we can tackle as many of those on the front end as possible, we're going into it with our head up and our shoulders strong.
What have you seen in terms of the inventory of the type of properties that you focus on in your investment business? Now that it seems as though the demand for, you know, conventional, I'll call them, properties has increased, have you seen less distressed properties available?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it kind of ebbs and flows. You know, last month I would have told you that I haven't seen, you know, this is the worst month for me, and there's hardly any properties available. The month before that, we had more properties than we knew what to do with. Which is a little bit different. Those are faster trends than you normally see in the real estate market. We usually have kind of 6-month trends where we can really base the value of a property off of. And I'd say over the past 6 months, they've been closer to 1 or 2 month trends. A lot of our deals come from the private markets. They're not things that the average person is going to see, which is why we're able to put a value to it to our investors. As far as the things on the open market, when it comes to investor properties, it's been pretty limited. We call this a dry market. There's not a lot out there, and what is out there is not quite as physically distressed as a lot of the investors are looking for, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just means that people are buying up properties and fixing them. A lot of times they're getting them off the private market, flipping them to the public market.
Gotcha. Now, you also, I know, represent just regular buyers and sellers that are looking for, we'll call them retail properties. How has your, how has your role in real estate investing influenced the way you deal with normal retail buyers and sellers?
I try to use the same metrics that I use with investment properties as I do with retail buyers. And sellers. You know, everybody is looking for something a little bit different. So kind of going back to our earlier discussion, we want to find as many issues as we can on the front end so they're not a surprise, you know, later on. It's easier to fix a period when it's supposed to be a comma before you send your legal document out. It's easier to deal with it when it's, you know, a concern before it's, you know, let's say breast cancer. Everything, the smaller and faster it is, and the earlier you find it, the easier it is to deal with. So that's what I try and do with my clients. When I walk through a property, I tell them, I want you to find everything about this property you love. I'll find everything about this property that I hate. Is the deck screwed, or is it nailed? Those are going to have different, you know, maintenance needs over time. Is the bathroom floor linoleum, or is it tile? Linoleum, you know, is great. It's cheaper, but tile is going to repel a lot more water. I just had a seller. We just sold last week their property, and the buyers were on their final walkthrough, and I get this frantic call. We're a half an hour away from closing the deal, and I get this call from the selling agent. She says, "Aaron, the toilet's flooding. It's been overflowing. Who knows how long." So I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh no, this is the end of the deal. We've worked months to get here, and it's all over. What am I going to do? So I race on over there, and you know, thankfully, when the sellers had redone their bathroom a few years ago, they had replaced the floor with tile, and actually saved a serious amount of damage. We just cleaned up the water, stopped the problem, did a little plunger in the toilet, and the deal was saved. We went right on the closing. I think if it were a linoleum floor, we might have some issues. And these aren't things that you normally think about when you walk into a house. You know, if you've got nice, clean, white linoleum floors, you're not always thinking about that next flood down the road. So I try and point out a lot of different issues like that. Does it have older windows, maybe aluminum windows or wood double hung, or does it have newer vinyl replacement, which are going to save you a lot on energy costs? Does it have an older furnace? Does it have a newer furnace? Is it missing an air conditioning? Can it be put in? So these are a lot of the things that I look at both on my investment properties and when I'm with a retail buyer.
Sure, sure. Just given the sheer number of properties you're looking at, you're obviously a repair and valuation expert, so that's awesome. Let me ask you this: in terms of the retail segment of the market, what parts of town are you seeing as being really hot right now?
That also ebbs and flows. We're at the beginning of the season, of the prime selling season. Some of the reports I'm seeing online and a lot of the properties I'm seeing listed are actually kind of moving to the further suburbs of the Cincinnati area, not so much the interior as we've seen in the past handful of years. The Milford, Miami Township area is exploding. There are a ton of listings out there, and they're selling very quickly, very close to retail to the asking price. You're seeing a lot out in the Lebanon area, which is also a little bit of a distance. Westchester's still booming, but some more of the interior areas are not doing as well as they used to be. There's a lot of new builds out there too. There are some great deals on construction. I had a couple of clients who have gone that route as well, and I encourage people to go the route that you're most comfortable with. So those are some of the areas I'm seeing are booming the most. On the investment side, it's much closer to the inner suburbs, Price Hill, Westwood, Madisonville. A lot of those places are getting pretty big as well.
Nice. Now, let's say I was a buyer and I was sitting on the sidelines, kind of trying to determine if I was going to make a move now or wait 6 months or a year. What would you tell me? What do you think is the outlook as far as appreciation goes, and what should my motivating factors at this point be?
Sure. The number one thing when you're buying a house is you want to make sure you've got enough money to do it. So if you're in a position to buy a house now, I'd say go for it. We're at the bottom of the market still. It's slowly recovering, and I think in the next 5 to 10 years, your property values are going to soar. But we're still pretty close to the bottom of the market. We've stopped the let's call it the bleeding of the home issue. We're not going down any further, and we're slowly starting to rise. The sooner you get in, if you can afford it, absolutely the better. Interest rates are still pretty low, so the cost to borrow that money, you get a lot more bang for your buck. We had some clients who, just your average middle-class family, were living in a small 2-bedroom, and they were able to, for the same monthly mortgage amount, they were able to almost triple the size of their house simply by the cost of money, and that's unbelievable. They didn't even realize how great it was. They went from, again, a 2-bedroom to, I think, a 4-bedroom, over 2,000 square feet, a big lot. You can't beat that. And if the interest rates get too much higher, you're not going to be able to match that either. So if you have the money, you're able to do it, you're ready to make the move, now is a perfect time.
Gotcha. And what are the most active segments of buyers that you're seeing out there? Are you seeing a lot of first-timers, move-up buyers? What do you see out there in the marketplace in general right now?
Well, there's 3 big groups that I've been seeing, and again, you're going to want to consult some other realtors to see who they're going with. But through my office, I've been seeing 3 big groups, which are the first-time home buyers. They're loving the idea that square foot comparability in their area they can own for less than rent, which is just awesome. Why pay $700, $800 a month for an apartment when you can own your own house? So that's exploding. The move-up buyers, as we call them, the people who are trying to transition from their starter home to maybe their long-term lifetime home or forever home, they're taking advantage of the fact that money is cheap to borrow, and they're moving up, kind of like my clients who moved from that 2-bedroom, that 4-bedroom. And then the last are the downsizers, people who just at a point in their life where they don't need all that extra space in their formerly forever home, and are looking to cash in kind of on the same thing. They've paid their homes off for many years, and anything they make now is just a good profit, and they can buy their next home for cash sometimes, or a very low short-term mortgage, which is great. And again, at that price range for borrowing money, really those three segments of the market are capitalizing on that.
Awesome. So it sounds like, in your opinion, the market is moving and it's pretty hot right now, and it's a good time to buy and a pretty decent time to sell if you're ready to get out and move up or move down, that kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of all around, it's great to be in. There are certainly some dry spots in the market. Not as many properties are being as listed as we want, but the good part about that is the properties that are selling really quickly are fixed up. It's unbelievable how many houses we walk into that have granite countertops and an open floor plan. They've done all the work for you just to get that thing sold and out the door. And for a lot of us, especially the first-time home buyers, to get that completely fixed up, move-in ready home a few years ago wasn't possible for the prices we're paying now. So great time to buy, great value for your dollar. A lot of great options out there, and things are moving quickly. So definitely a good time to jump on it too. If you see something you like, give somebody a call, get on in that house, talk to a mortgage lender like yourself, and see how we can actually get things sold and have a first time or forever home. It's a great time.
Awesome. Well, nice. This has been really informative. I appreciate your time. If a buyer or seller was looking to get in touch with you, Aaron, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Sure. I'm going to give you a couple options. I'll give you my website. There's a place on there. You can type in your information. You can ask me what you're looking for. I can search for properties for you. It's pretty easy to remember. It's whowantsToBuyAHouse.com. My phone number is 513-226-3179. Give me a call. We'll talk about what your needs are. We'll take a look at what's available and get the ball rolling. And don't forget to check out our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/whowantsToBuyAHouse.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Aaron. Look forward to speaking with you soon, and good luck. Happy selling this spring and summertime. Should be a hot market.
Great. Thanks a bunch, Roland.
All right. Take care.